Adrian Ash, Bullion Vault recently launched its Gold Investor Index. Tell me, what's it telling you about physical gold activity?
Well, I mean, the Gold Investor Index measures the actual buying and selling decisions of people who are using Bullion Vault. We're the biggest in the world at what we do, which is direct ownership for retail investors of physical gold bullion. So what you're seeing on the index is basically a measure of whether there's more people buying or selling, and then that's then rebased to 50. So if they were if they balanced each other out, you'd have a reading of 50. The September number came in at 52.5. So basically it was rising slightly from August, which was a rise from July. So I think, what it basically demonstrates is that, yes, amongst Western households, we had a pretty typical summer in the physical gold market. It was relatively quiet, and it's turned up again. It's turned higher in the autumn. That's normally what we see. What I think it's saying, which is interesting, though, at the moment, is if you look the last time gold was at these prices, the last time that we were, kind of around 1790, gold was making headlines in the newspapers all across the financial media. It was making the news pages. And this time round, there is much less anxiety, I think, amongst Western households. They're by far the majority of our database on Bullion Vault, 42,000 users. And so I think what you're seeing is that people are not actually so concerned about the things that maybe professional investors are more worried about now, such as the outlook for inflation, because of what the European Central Bank is doing, and obviously QE3 in the States. And I think possibly also it might give some reassurance to central bankers that, the kind of bridge that they keep telling us they're building for fiscal policymakers, for government policymakers to try and repair the economy in the Western world, that maybe people are, they're kind of buying that story at the moment.
Well, gold is generally stored in safety deposit boxes and with firms like Bullion Vault. So can gold be considered a measure of consumer confidence? It sounds to me like that's what you're describing with regard to the Gold Investor Index, even though it's out of sight but in mind.
Absolutely. People buy gold when they are frightened about the outlook ahead for either other financial assets or for their own personal savings or for the outlook for inflation in particular. If you look, there's a pretty strong relationship between, say, U.S. presidential ratings in the States and the price of gold. There's been some interesting work coming out of HSBC over recent years about that. Think about it. If you're buying gold, you're basically rejecting official currency. You're rejecting financial services products. You're rejecting credit. You're rejecting, an idea of, there being financial, growth.